What the hell are we supposed to use, man? Harsh language?
All right. Mic check. Mic check.
1, 2. What is
Michael
this?
Keaton.
All right. So we're recording.
Yep.
I wanted to start an hour early. I messaged you guys, and here we are, an hour late. Just about.
Thanks, Dan.
Sorry.
That's Dan for you.
Yep. Never a dull moment
Well,
in the Dan house.
you said 5 minutes, and half an hour later, we started asking where he was.
This is why I'm late, because I'm the world's best boss. Even though it's mirrored and you can't read it properly, but had a bit of a work emergency.
Yep.
What can I say?
Well, it
I'm
doesn't
also-
happen, actually.
Not to you all. I mean,
Yeah.
we all can't be so lucky, Marvin.
Us workers, when we're off the clock, we're off the clock.
If people
Yeah, I'm
knew
never
what
off
the
the
three
clock.
of us actually do for work, it'd be hilarious. Because like none
It
of us
would be.
really actually work, technically. So yeah, little inside baseball for you guys listening at home. I'm on no sleep too. I slept like shit last night. I don't know what happened. I kept waking up. Also, craziest fucking dream. The brain is an incredible thing, let me tell you.
Yes,
So-
it is.
I finished Severance last night, which we'll get into in a second. No spoilers, of course, Dusty, because you haven't watched it yet. But I was watching Severance, and then I think in like the second to last episode, they play a song that was in my family's like home recording, but like my grandparents' recording. So these videos are from like the 70s and 80s, and they're like really bad quality.
Yeah.
And it's the song "Good Morning Yesterday."
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember the times of your life? So like I got a little choked up thinking about my grandparents when that song came on. And then when I went to put the dog out before I went to bed, I noticed a big giant pregnant spider on my fence. So I tried to kill it with my foot and it just dropped to the ground. I missed it.
Ooh.
So then I had like spiders and my grandparents on the brain. Sure enough, I woke up to a dream of me being in my grandparents' living room in their house. And like, just, they were surrounded by spiders in the dream. And I like vividly remember the dream because it's like one of those dreams like right before you wake up. And I was just like sitting there and my grandfather's laying on the couch. My grandmother's laying on the other couch and there was just spiders crawling all over. I'm like,
Ooh.
what are you guys doing? I'm like, get rid of these fucking spiders. They're the ones that funnel in the fucking like siding of houses and stuff. Like, and I was just sitting there like gross the fuck out. And then I woke up
Yeah.
and I was like, what was that all about? But I pieced it
Dreams.
together later in the day. I was like, oh, this makes sense that I would dream about both of these things.
Yeah, that does make sense. I never have dreams like that of things that I have just seen recently or watched or whatever. It's always just completely random. There's no explanation that you could possibly have for these dreams that I experience.
I wish that I could lucid dream. I don't know if it's a real thing or just like a
think it
folklore or
is.
some shit.
Some people say it, but I don't know.
I
if they
know,
actually-
but people
I've
There's an
think-
never-
art to it, like dream journaling and stuff. You wake up and you start writing it down, and you get better at remembering it. Apparently,
Some people say they see
Hey,
ghosts
you ever
and
tried
shit too.
DMT?
Yeah.
Damn, pull
wait.
that up.
Yeah, Jamie, pull out what DMT does. We're getting into deep Joe Rogan territory. You know, I'm going to blow your mind right now, Marvin. They say that early man found psychedelic mushrooms,
Oh,
and that actually led to the advancement of the human brain.
it's true.
That is something Joe Rogan has said.
some say that apes ate them first, and that's what
The stoned ape.
allowed the
theory,
brain.
Stone
the
ape theory.
ape
Yeah,
theory.
that's a good one.
I was trying to be Joe Rogan for a second. Matter of fact, fuck Joe Rogan, okay? Because of him,
Full shams. Dan was in this week.
he was using this boom arm. It's a Gator Frameworks. Gator, if somebody's listening from Gator, fuck
Oh
your
yeah, he
company.
fucked you over. You
It's
trusted him.
It's
You
a
can't
nice
trust
boom
him, bro.
arm because it has a
He's
built-in.
retweeting Elon Musk and shit. He can't be trusted
Nah,
anymore.
it's over for that guy. But this has a built-in XLR cable, as you guys know. A great concept, right? In theory, hides the cable. Marvin, you don't see Marvin's boom arm. I bet his wire looks ugly as shit right now. draped
it's pretty
across that thing. Yours too, Dusty. Mine's hidden. You don't even see my shit except for right here, just a little bit. But the cable went bad, as you guys know. Last week we started recording. You're like, Dan, you're a little fuzzy, right?
Yep.
So I initially tried to just solder on new connectors, male and female, but the cable that was built in, the solder points were a little bit oxidized, so the solder wasn't really sticking, and I think I heated it up too much and melted the inside of it. So when I reconnected it after doing that, it sounded like way worse. It was like fucking whistling and all sorts of crazy shit. So I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna buy a new cable and I'll replace it. I go to their website like any normal person would, like how to take apart this thing. First thing that comes up, it's like if you click on like the help desk, the little widget on the bottom of websites, like it's literally the only question on there. How do I take apart the frameworks thing? They probably get so many questions about it.
They definitely do. Yep.
And the response is, well, actually, we don't recommend taking it apart.
Yep.
And if you have to replace the cable, basically go fuck yourself and buy a new one. Because I come to find out they only have a 90-day warranty on electronics, which means the cable. That's the only part of electronics in this thing. So you're just kind of fucked. I'm like, you know what? Like, I'm a technically savvy guy. I used to work with my hands. I could take shit apart and put it back together. And it really wasn't hard to take it apart at all or put it back together. It was pretty straightforward. But the way the cable is run, I had to actually cut one end of it and then re-splice it to snake the cable through. Like, what a fucking dumb
Terrible
design. Like, how do you make it? Like, if you look at this thing in person, it looks like it should just like snap off in two pieces and be done with it, but apparently not. Anyway, that was my weekend. How was your guys' weekend?
My weekend was cool. I didn't do much. I watched a bunch of stuff, but
Oh my God, bro. I'm putting in work. How about you, Dusty?
Yeah. My weekend was pretty good. Didn't do a whole lot. I watched a few things, but I've still been playing games. Finished God of War, the first one, so we're about to move on to the second one.
Oh, nice. First one was good.
That kid was annoying.
Yeah. You had never played it?
No.
It's a good game, but people like treat it like it's the best game ever made, and that I don't see at all.
No.
Like, it was just good. Like,
I don't even think it's the best God of War game.
I don't either. I think God of War 2 is like without question the best God of War game.
yeah.
It's a good one.
Yep.
God of War 2 is. Do you remember the fight when you're I forget which boss it is, but you're like silhouetted against like the stained glass, and you just it's like a side scrolling fight, and you just see the silhouettes of you and the boss. Oh my God.
Oh yeah. Yep.
That game is so good. The scale of that game is so good. That was something that didn't really impress me about this God of War, is that you constantly are revisiting the same locations.
Yeah.
Like that main hub.
But
But
never played the new
Lake
ones.
of the Nines is what it was called.
yeah, something like that. But the game was good, and you know, whatever. It's Norse mythology. It's something different. Kid was fucking annoying, for sure. But yeah, be interested to see what you think about the second one. I heard it was like, you know, pretty good, more of the same.
Yeah. Apparently it's a little bit different on the builds and stuff from what Sean was saying. But
Did they go in a little bit? Maybe they go in a little more of a
well, like this
RPG
one is like
direction with it.
yeah. This one is armor sets that you can upgrade, but they're different levels of armor, and the new one they can all be upgraded to the highest tier. So
Cool. I put in work this week, boys.
Did you?
Finished Ted Lasso. I only had one episode on that because I was like current on that one. Finished Ted Lasso, which incredible finale to an incredible series. What a great show. Just such a great show. Like, there's no frills, there's no thrills. It's just a simple story about a nice guy being nice. It's so fucking good. And how he touches the people around him, basically. That was from Marvin, because Marvin hasn't watched it yet.
Yep.
And probably won't, but you should.
Maybe.
So I finished that. I then watched the season 2 of Sweet Tooth and finished that in like 2 days. And Sweet Tooth was good. Not as good as the first season, in my opinion. There's a little bit of a mystery unfolding, and I like those sorts of things. You know that, Marvin? It's a cool concept for a show. I think I talked about it last week when we recorded. But it's like a cool, all like different type of spin on like the post-apocalyptic type of shit.
Yeah.
It's refreshing.
That's definitely one I want to see.
Yeah, it's refreshing that there's no zombies right? Like we're all kind of zombied out. Let's
Enough
face it.
zombies, enough zombie games, zombie content, like movies, shows. We got enough.
We do have
zombies
enough
for like the next 10 years.
Yeah, and I'll put Last of Us in there too. Like we get it. Like zombies are bad, you know? Even though they're not zombies, they're just infected.
Right.
But yeah, finished Sweet Tooth. And then what else did I watch? I watched Severance. But did I watch something between Severance and Sweet Tooth? I can't remember.
You watched Barry?
Oh, Barry. Yeah, there you go. Thank you. Finished season 3. Marvin did too. We both watched it around the same time.
I forgot we even watched it. It's already left my mind.
Dude, Dusty, you haven't watched it yet?
Yeah, I watched it today.
Did you finish it?
Yeah.
Oh, damn. You're like a worker. All right, let's talk about this for a minute. We'll get more content for YouTube. Let's do a little impromptu Barry finale review here.
Yeah.
What a shitty season to cap off such a great show.
Yep. I agree.
Did you like it, Dusty?
There were some really weird parts, but it is a dark comedy, and some of it didn't make sense. Like what was going on
It made no sense.
I mean, so like I guess the thing I liked about it most was like the Stephen Root character, and I thought that was pretty good with this season. And like he's properly jacked for an old guy. Like if you go watch him in Office Space,
he looks good.
He
Yeah,
looks like me. Like he's got some man boobs and a gut. You know, he's not in shape. And in this one, he's like
that's my stapler.
He's jacked. Yeah.
I was like talking to Marvin about it. I think in our own chat because you hadn't watched it, and
I hadn't watched it yet. Yeah.
And I was just like, I think I described it perfectly to you, Marvin. Right? Like I was like, it's not really the story per se. I just don't really understand the execution of it. So like Barry,
the story is great.
Like the show was great and brilliant. Every season was great and arguably got better and better as it went on. But it's because of what Dusty said. It was a dark comedy about this fucking guy who's a killer, right? And is just has like the worst case of
anger problems.
Well, yeah, that, but what's the word? He's like he suffers from like severe delusions, right?
Oh, of himself, yeah. He sees himself as like a good guy.
Well, he
right?
becomes.
Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, so he gets into acting in the show because he thinks that it'll help him like get his life back in order. Like he doesn't want to be a killer anymore, a hitman or whatever the fuck. Mm-hmm. So he goes to this acting class and like thinks it's making him a better person. And that's been the show, and that's been the dark comedy of it. Is it's like about mental illness, but in like a funny way. And the show has always been very fucking funny. Right. This season was not funny at all. Nope. I laughed twice. I counted a total of 2 times. I said to Marvin, it was when Barry was being questioned by the CIA in prison, and what's his name was sweating, and he's like, "That guy's here to kill me," and he just said it with like a straight face. That was funny. And then
it was only a few moments, like when he killed the girl on top of the car place or whatever. You know, when he was getting chased in the on the dirt bike, and then he pulled up to the car place, and the girl was on the roof, and he shot her, and then he shot her again, and everybody was just like, "Oh, okay, let's go back inside." I thought that was funny, but
was that season 3? Was that the newest season?
I think it was.
I think you might be blurring that season.
Maybe I watched some. Yeah, I watched some
back to back.
But
maybe that wasn't there.
The only other time I laughed was towards the last episode when Hank was like recruiting the hitmen, and he was like, "That's a shit ton of coups, though. Like you should be proud." Like, but
add to cart, buy it now.
Yeah, like this season was. There's that one point. Like I thought the first couple episodes were cool. I was like, okay, he's in jail. Like, what's gonna happen here? Like everything's starting to come down on him, and it's like a natural conclusion. Like the story, I was fine with. It's a natural conclusion to the story, sort of like Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul. Those shows ended in the only way they could have. Like it would have been stupid and unrealistic had Walter like got away with it all or whatever the fuck. You know what I mean? But and in this, it was going in that direction. Like he's not going to get out of this. But I think it was like episode 5. It just a switch flips and it becomes the most like surreal
time skip.
Well, it was comical, but not in a funny way. Like the way they try, like, hey, he just broke out of prison. Like, hey, get the fuck out of here.
But it wasn't just that he broke out. It was everything else. It was it was done in a surreal way. And I'm not saying it came off as surreal. Like, that was clearly the goal. Was I didn't know for like 4 episodes after that time jump whether or not he was like dreaming or something. I still think it's possible that everything we saw happen was like a dream he had in prison or something like that, because they kept like showing flashbacks to him like living in the desert when he meets fucking what's his name's character, Stephen Root, and like then he's when
Raven.
they do the Raven. Then when they do the time jump, he's living in the fucking he's basically living in Courage the Cowardly Dog's house, like
Yep.
in the middle of nowhere with just wind whipping, and like it was just so weird and surreal to me, and I was like, what is
Yeah.
happening? Is
I
this a
didn't understand the
dream?
time skip. I
It
didn't
felt
the
like
time
this
skip at all.
season.
No.
Yeah. It felt like this season was more about like the damage and destruction that he caused the last couple scenes. Like, it wasn't even really about Barry, because you got more of the other characters, it felt like, in most of the scenes.
Well, that's ultimately what the show is about, right? It's about
Right.
it's like the damage he causes to other people, right? Because of his like severe delusions. But the thing that I thought was terrible is that, and I guess this was it the way it always was, is like nobody in the show is really likable. There's nobody that you could root for, you know? And we've praised Breaking Bad a lot for making that switch where you like root for Walter White, and then all of a sudden you realize like, oh wait, he's the villain here. I don't want to be rooting for him. He's a piece of shit. Not a lot of people make that switch too, by the way, which shocks me still to this day, how people don't realize that Walt is not the hero of that story. But anyway,
Yeah.
like there's nobody in Barry that you want to root for. Like, you like Hank because he's funny, but you realize he's still a murdering gangster guy. You know, you definitely don't root for fucking Stephen Root, whatever the fuck his character's name is,
I
because
kind of was. I liked his story arc.
I mean,
What about
his
Sally?
no, because she's a piece of shit too. She's like so egotistical and like selfish, and she always was that. Like, she treated
That's
Barry
true.
like shit for a majority of the series,
Yeah.
and she even like
The
dated
en-
him
the
begrudgingly.
entitled cunt, isn't that what her name was in the show?
He's something, yeah, the cunt girl,
Yeah.
screaming cunt girl, or something like that. So yeah, I don't know. Did not end well. I thought I was not a fan. I thought it was the weakest of the seasons. I mean, I'll give them props for obviously doing something like, you know, bold and experimental, if you want to like give it fucking film speak, but like I just thought it was bad. I didn't think it really worked at all.
Yeah.
I thought one of the favorite points for me was when he's in the car driving, and he doesn't like what the other pastor is saying, so he finds a new pastor,
Yeah.
and it's
He
Bill
was just
Burr.
looking.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
like,
He was looking for the
God
one
just
signal,
told me
like,
it's
yep, that's
okay to
enough.
kill this guy. He's like, yep, that's it. We're
As soon
going.
as he got the confirmation
was
bias, he
fucking
turned the fucking
hilarious.
radio off. Like,
Oh,
yep,
yeah.
that's a sign.
Bill Burr is a pastor.
And that's funny.
Okay.
It's funny because that's what people do, right? Like, you
Oh,
look
yeah.
for shit that just, you know, confirms
Mhm.
your own biases. But like,
Sure.
I don't know. I was just kind of like, I just found it kind of lame that like there's, by the end of the day, like they expected you to like, I guess they turned his son into like the character that you root for at the end of the day.
Mhm.
And like,
I didn't care about his son.
I didn't either, because I spent 2 seconds
Because-
with him and he was fucking dumb and annoying.
Yeah, and because the time skip was like, it
So
felt
abrupt.
just like a plot device to introduce him having a son.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I didn't see what was the other purpose of the time skip.
I don't know. It was just so weird. And like none of the characters just resolve in a way that I guess it makes sense for so Fuchs's character arc is like putting aside his own selfishness for Barry finally, right?
Yeah,
Like he saved Barry's son technically at the end, right?
right.
Yes.
Hank had no like character arc.
Gave him an opportunity to have a normal life, basically, is what he did.
Yeah, Hank didn't have a character arc. Hank just was like a funny
Yeah.
bald guy with no eyebrows for the entire show.
I don't understand why they made Hank out to be like this guy that had ambitions to run LA, and I never got that vibe
Never.
from Hank.
No, never. He was always working for those scumbags, and he was kind of
Yeah.
like the happy-go-lucky like guy.
I never saw him as like, oh, I want to be the boss of everything. I
Yeah.
never got that vibe from Hank.
Never. And he got Cristobal killed for like no reason whatsoever.
That was so stupid.
Like that was dumb. So Hank didn't even have like a character arc. You mentioned Sally. Sally didn't have a character arc because she just exited the show the way she appeared in the show, as just this selfish,
Right.
entitled girl who like lied about like because she lied. If you remember the whole series, she was lying about the abuse that she had with her ex-boyfriend. Like he definitely was a piece of shit, but remember he didn't choke her and all the shit that she said.
Not to that extent, and
Right.
she didn't like stand up to him or anything. Like she made it out. Yeah, I remember that.
She used it as like part of her identity.
Yep.
And then like she was hung up on the fact that she had to like kill the guy who was sent to kill her, or whatever the fuck happened last season, and then she ended with like teaching that acting class and was like still pretty selfish, right? I think they tried to portray her as like a codependent person whom like needs to seek approval from other people and needs to fix other people and goes out of their way. And I think there's a lot of her that was that. That's why at the end when the guy asks her out, she's kind of just like, nah, like she's finally
right
self-reliant and independent. So I guess in that sense she had a little bit of a character arc, but she's still not a likable character to me.
Yeah, I was waiting for her to say no thank you, and she was just like, no.
Yeah.
Just like just random, as you gotta work with this guy. Like
I don't
so crass.
I don't
She was
remember.
definitely a big user. Like
she
used Barry a bunch, and then she dated him.
Yep.
But then when she got to a certain level in her career, she just got rid of him. And she blamed it on him, like freaking out on her. But I was like, I don't think that didn't. I don't know.
And then, speaking of her, talk about being surreal. What the fuck was that weird fucking bullshit when like the truck crashed into the house and like the dude in the fucking black shit was standing there? Like, what was that?
Some weird shit.
Did that happen? What, like, we don't know anything that went on. That's what I'm saying.
I don't know if anything actually happened in that desert.
I don't know either. I don't even know if they were in the desert. That's why I said it was like purposely done in a very surreal way. And the fact that the show was about Barry's delusions, it leads me to believe that this was like the final delusion. Like he's just in prison rotting and like this is his like,
right.
I don't know.
He's just,
some sort of play.
His worst nightmares are basically playing out type of thing.
Something like that. But then, so like, go ahead, Dusty.
I think there was some satisfying irony in Kusino's story arc. Like, he was trying to, he was the guy that was blowing the whistle the whole time, and nobody's really listened to him. And when they finally do, like, it's too late, and he's in too deep, and now he's no longer the hero; he's the villain because he's fucking in jail for it. And they made a movie about him. So
that was so unrealistic. I feel like the switch from the blame being on Barry to him being the killer and him. Like, I felt like that was, I don't know. I didn't believe, it wasn't very believable for me.
All these characters are very like self-serving. That's like the thing. And like, and very convoluted. Not convoluted. That's not the word I'm looking for. What is the word I'm looking for? I don't know. They're all very absorbed, right? And Kusino was one of those too. Like he was like kind of like a nobody actor, and he thought he was like this big shot fucking guy, and he never really was. Yeah. And like the only thing he had going for him was like this shitty, like bottom of the barrel fucking acting school that people would go to in desperation.
Yeah.
So like he basically dug his own grave because he was like, he just constantly was chasing that fame. So he ultimately got himself fucked because
that's true.
Everything made it look like he was like part of the murder, but like
he just shoots his son and then goes on a fucking 8-year.
Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense. And then with Barry, like again, like very delusional guy. What was his character arc? Like he didn't learn. Like he gets shot in the fucking head, but like even to the very bitter end, he was still under those delusions. He kept saying, "Oh, this is God's plan for me," or whatever.
Yeah.
Like
no, he was like, if I do all this, please let me go. Please let me go to heaven after.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
And like we don't get to see like why he became like a weird fucking Christian. I guess what else do you do in the middle of the desert? I mean, maybe that was like the thing that they were leaning on. But like, good.
I think that's like the ultimate delusion. Like,
well, yeah, for sure.
A lot of Christians. Yeah. There's no accountability on oneself. So
yeah, 100%.
Everything bad that happens, whatever.
Yep.
I'll be forgiven for my sins. And so it's just an easy cop out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I don't know. When I look at I don't know. I'm not a fucking writer, but like in my mind, what's good writing is like when characters go on a fucking journey where they have like a fucking arc. They start one way and end another way. I hate to keep going back to it, but we look at Breaking Bad, right? Like every character in that show has like a kind of journey that comes to a conclusion. Talking about Walter, like he starts out in one way, becomes the villain, and then by the end is sort of kind of redeemed. Not really, because he ruined everybody's life, but at least he was able to like do right by Jesse like one time, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And Jesse's fucking story, he's like this fucking troubled kid who like fucking was selling drugs and like hanging out with the wrong crowd and all this shit. And then like, you know, at the end, he just wanted to love somebody, or he loved somebody and lost her, like, right? So like they all have like their own, and he was selfless too, because we see even more in El Camino that like, you know, he sent money to fucking what's her name's kid and all that.
Yeah.
It's like in good stories, characters have like these journeys, and like I get it that it's like a dark comedy, but like you could still have that in the characters. And I see the threads that they were trying to connect by the end, but like I just thought the whole last season was executed like so poorly. Like it was just all over the place. It was confusing. And like, I don't know, it was just distracting to me.
Yeah.
So,
I don't like that Fuchs survived. He should have died. He's a little rat.
who the fuck
Of course,
knows?
the rats always live, though.
Yeah, who the fuck knows what happened to him? I mean, like, you don't know really anything. I didn't even think Barry, when he shot Barry, I was like, oh, well, they're really doing that. Oh, it's over. Okay, I guess. Like, really? That's bizarre. So, yeah, I don't know. I guess it's harder than we think to fucking, you know, end series well. Because I've really only... I swear to God, Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul are like the only two like multiple season runs of a show that I've seen like end like, wow, they fucking nailed it. Even my favorite show of all time, X-Files, like ends on like a shitty kind of note.
What about Ted Lasso? We just talked about it.
Ted Lasso's another one, yeah, for sure. But I feel like, yeah, okay. But Ted Lasso's not like a complicated fucking story.
Not counting older shows or counting older shows too?
Counting older shows.
What about like...
I guess Sopranos probably.
Like Sopranos, The Wire. I thought The Wire was good.
Yeah, The Wire too. But Sopranos was like, I guess, controversial, but I didn't find it controversial. I don't know.
Yeah.
But like, I guess it's harder than we think. I don't know. I mean, I just don't get how this, like, I guess maybe they just tried to do something a little bit more experimental and like it just didn't work out. And I don't know. I thought it was directed great. Bill Hader directed all the episodes of this last season, and I thought they were all like, I thought the direction was cool. A lot of the shots were really fucking well done. So the cinematography was great. It was just, I don't know. I couldn't get into that whole shit, but I don't know. It is what it is.
It was definitely weird and not as good as the other two seasons, but I didn't think it was terrible.
It just didn't fit.
It didn't fit
with the rest of the
no, not at all.
It felt like a fucking fever dream.
It felt like a fever dream, and the worst part about it is that it wasn't funny.
Yeah, right.
And
so there was no like nothing to like break up the fucking like weirdness that's happening.
Like, what was the shit with Sally and the weird meth guy in the bathroom? She's like fucking tugging on his dick and then like starts choking him. Like, what was that all about?
I don't know.
What was the point of that?
I don't know.
That's the thing that was weird. Like, there was a lot of stuff that just didn't make any sense, right?
Yeah.
Like, he pulls her wig off and it's like, don't fucking tell anybody. It's like, what? Like, what, why did this happen? I get she's bored, like, living in the fucking desert, but also, I don't know. There's just nothing makes any sense that happened this season. Yeah. And, like, the only thing that I was, like, kind of, like, on board with and, like, kind of interested in was the business pursuit that Cristobal and Hank were going after with the sand.
Oh yeah, that was great.
And it just didn't go, like, it just ended in such a dumb way. Like, Hank spent the whole series trying to break away from his Chechen fucking crime syndicate just to fucking, like, bend over at them. I guess maybe that's just to go to show you, like, how powerful they are. I don't know.
Right. I can see
Ironside
I can see that.
Gained some weight.
What'd you say?
Michael Ironside definitely gained some weight.
Who was he?
He was the head of the Chechen Chechen guy. He was like, "Yeah, your guy doesn't eat with us or anything." He's like, "Oh, you're part of the family. I'm part of the family." Like he was in like the Top Gun back in the day.
Yeah.
Oh shit! I didn't even recognize him.
I didn't either.
Better. Yeah.
He was the boss, the big guy.
He was the Chechen boss. Yeah.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
I didn't even recognize him. That's crazy.
Yep.
Yeah, he's an '80s icon, Marvin, and
Yes, he
'90s.
Yep.
Oh yeah, he's been in all those fucking movies that you're gonna be
Yeah.
watching someday.
Someday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I mean, Barry's sitting at an 8.4 on IMDb, the whole series. I mean, I'd put
Overall, yeah.
I'd give it an
probably.
8.5. Yeah, it's a great series.
Give it an 8.
It's fair.
Yeah, I'll give it an 8 overall.
It's a great series. Just didn't really
Yeah.
didn't
Didn't stick to the landing.
ended poorly.
Classic.
Ended poorly. In my mind,
It's like
just
the
went to
Ozark
jail.
effect. Ozark had the
Oh,
same problem.
God,
Remember
that
Oh my goodness.
that was such
Remember
a
that
bad
ending?
That was such like, hey, I'm a gangster now. Everyone's like, what the fuck?
Fucking
my
Jonah,
God.
you ain't shit. I'll smack the fuck out of Jonah. What the hell?
Dude, I can't. Yeah, I forgot about it. I had wiped that one out of my memory. But it's funny that we both forgot we just watched Barry like 2 days ago.
I forgot I binged it.
I know, that's how
Yeah.
good it was, right? We both just forgot about it. But all right, well, there's our little Barry tangent, folks. Yeah, let us know if you watched it, what you think, because we're all perplexed, clearly. But yeah, so I went from Barry, I was Sweet Tooth to Barry, and then I watched Severance.
Severance.
What a weird show.
Love me some Severance.
I just want to talk about it for 2 seconds. Does I'm not going to spoil anything.
No spoilers, yeah.
But I was like hooked for 2 episodes, and then it lost me for like 2.5 episodes, and then it hooked me again for the remainder of the series. It was very weird. The pacing
Yeah.
of that show is very, very bizarre.
No, I can see it.
And when I was complaining to Marvin last night while I was watching, not really complaining. There was a very specific thing I had a problem with, but I still do. You know what the show's about, so it's not really much of a spoiler to say that like you're dealing with people who were like split into 2 personalities essentially, their work personality and their home personality, and neither of them have any memory of the other. And of course, there's like a whole mystery surrounding that. But you spend a lot of time with the work people specifically, but the story is really building towards the outside portion of it. But you don't spend enough time with the people, I think, to give a shit about them as much as the main guy, right? But then they saved it until the very last episode to kind of like give you a little bit of backstory, right? So I get why they did that, but
You wish they would have.
well, for a majority of the season, I was like, why do I care about these people?
Yeah.
Like, give me a reason to care about them. But now I'm
I
thinking
think it was a huge setup for the second season.
well, yes, but hang on though, because now I'm thinking about it. Having watched it, I sat with it for a day. It actually is a very interesting way to make a viewer or an audience member experience the story you're telling, because very much like that Breaking Bad effect, it's like, oh, I loved Walter White. Now I probably shouldn't like him. Well, who the fuck are we rooting for here? In terms of like Mark, right?
Yeah.
Like, well,
It's like a Westworld type scenario where you don't know who the fuck is what. And
I
everything's
actually
fucking confused.
It's not that I actually described it to Marvin. My last message to him last night before I went to bed was, this has very Westworld vibes. It is very much like Westworld, but not where you don't know like who's real or who's not. You very much know who's who. It's just that you're being presented with 2 very different characters. Not very different. You're being presented with 2 different characters in one body. And the show is kind of like pushing you to root for like one half of these people. But I have a feeling by next season it's going to make you question that. It's like, oh, but wait a second.
Oh yeah.
So
it's gonna be crazy.
Interesting. Good show. Very creative show. It's not unlike other things. Like we joked about it before we started recording, but like that China's gonna clone me because I go on TikTok all the time. And I was gonna make the joke, it'd be dope if I could just have my clone like work for me.
Right.
And I could just do whatever I want. And that's basically the premise of the show. Like that's why these people sign up for this Severance thing. Is like, oh, I can have no memory of fucking working and then I just get paychecks every day or every week.
Yeah.
That's sick.
It's definitely very like like you said, Westworldy, but
Yeah.
very like Black Mirror-y as well.
Yeah, it's like Black Mirror meets Westworld. It's like a very Black Mirror scenario. And then like the show is dealing with like the morality of like basically by doing the severance thing, you're essentially bringing a slave into existence that doesn't know anything other than life in this office.
Mm-hmm.
They step into an elevator and their day ends, and then they wake up in the elevator again, and that's all they know.
Rinse and repeat. Yep.
So there are some very like cool like moral quandaries to it and questions. But yeah.
I definitely want to talk about it more, but I can't really say.
No,
much
we will until he finishes it.
Yeah.
Next, if you could finish it by next week, we could do a review on it. That'd be sick.
Yeah.
This motherfucker watches whole seasons in one fucking day, though. He could get it. He can get it done.
Oh yeah.
Was it 4 hours was Barry? And it's pretty easy.
Barry's an easy watch.
Barry's easy. Yeah.
Although I was struggling with it. It was easy in the sense of time. It's like over when like it's quick.
Yeah.
Those half-hour episodes. Whew.
Yeah.
But when they're good shows, though, you want it to be longer. That's the thing.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm trying to figure out what I want to watch next now. I'm thinking I might just thug it out and finish Yellow Jackets. That show just ended like a week, like last Sunday, I think.
Yeah.
That season.
I did check out the first episode of the Lazarus Project.
Oh, how was it?
The one I was telling you about. It was pretty good. It was very interesting. I'm not hooked. I probably will finish it. It's definitely got that like network type of vibe to it, but it's better, I guess. It's a little bit better because I guess it's like a UK show.
Yeah, those British shows hit diff. You know that because you watch Luther.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I don't have like I have such a fucking long list of shit I gotta watch that like for some
Succession is on my list right now.
Yes,
that one is finished.
People keep mentioning that to me, but I kind of don't care about that show. That's the thing I was gonna say is like I have such a long list of shit to watch that like I can't be like kind of like lukewarm on something. It has to be like I definitely want to watch this, and that's kind of where I'm at. Yeah. That's why I'm like I haven't finished Yellow Jackets. I haven't finished Mandalorian because neither of those shows were exciting me when I was watching them. But like I can't just let them sit there incomplete. I gotta finish them.
I watched the first episode of what was it? The Godfather of Harlem, I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I watched the first episode of that too. And it was okay. It was I mean, it's interesting. It's not something I was hooked on right away again, so I may go back to it, but
your boy Forrest is in this.
Yeah, he's great. I mean, he's always great, but
yeah.
What else did I watch?
A gangster named Bumpy Johnson. That's a fucking name, boy.
Yeah, it's based on the real Bumpy Johnson.
Yeah, Bumpy Johnson was a real gangster.
He's the one that what's his name's character from
Denzel played him in the American Gangster movie. Right?
I think Denzel.
That was his protege.
He was Bumpy Johnson's protege. Right?
Yeah.
That was Frank Lucas, I think.
Yeah, Frank Lucas. Yeah.
That was a great movie.
That was a great movie.
What's that movie called?
Yes, it was. Yeah.
American Gangster.
American Gangster. Yeah.
That's a good one.
Oh shit, my boy Juan Carlo's in this.
Oh yeah, he plays a pastor. Actually, it's hilarious.
And Vinny D. Oh shit.
There's a guy that Malcolm X is in the show. Obviously not the real Malcolm X. The guy portraying Malcolm X.
Oh shit, he's back from the dead, huh?
Like Tupac, maybe.
Yeah.
They back from Cuba. I also got back into
man, this chick is gorgeous in this show.
What's that show I was watching, bro?
Uh-huh.
Raised by Wolves. I had forgot about this show. It's a sci-fi show about like world ending. 2 androids get sent to Kepler, one of the actual planets that's like a candidate. Different whatever.
Right.
Kepler 22b or something, I think. But that's pretty good. I watched the first season like a couple years ago. And I forgot about it, but I just recently discovered the second season, so I've been watching that.
Nice.
And that's cool. Yeah. I'm at the point, like, if I watch the first episode and I'm not, like, super hooked, I'm just like, just put it down for now.
Well, because that's what the first episode of a thing is for, right? Like, it's meant to hook.
Yeah.
Now, not all
pilots. A pilot. That's how they, they sell a show.
Not all pilots go great, but, you know, the Always Sunny guys, they always say that. They were actually talking about it on that episode I sent. Did you watch it, Dusty? Did you end up watching that?
I watched the intro. I didn't watch the
intro. I watched the intro too.
So fucking funny. Anyway, later on in that episode, they're talking about one of the guys asks the other ones like, "Hey, when people ask you like when people say they haven't watched your show or they haven't watched our show," he's like, "I get a lot of questions from people like, hey, I haven't watched your show. Where would you recommend I start?" He's like, "I never know what to tell them," and they all were just like, "Well, definitely not the pilot." Because they all like unanimously agree like that show didn't really like they didn't find their legs until like the 5th season. It's like really when that show hits its stride. Like it's always funny and good, but like by season 5, like they really have identified like what they want to be. And
I think he probably said don't watch it because he said the hard R in the pilot.
Yeah,
but
I was gonna say, is that the pilot episode where they drop the they drop the N-word?
They just think that it was just bad. I think I don't know.
I didn't think it was bad. I thought it was funny.
No, I think it's great, but compared to the later stuff, like if you want to really hook somebody, is the point? Like,
yeah.
And especially in a show like that doesn't really require too much continuity. There is continuity, and there's jokes that get rehashed and like references and stuff for sure. But like, if you really want to hook somebody, that's like you're gonna make them watch like a much later season, probably. Yeah. I think. But but yeah, so. A lot of shows been watched now. I got to make the hard choice.
You guys watched American Born Chinese, right? I didn't finish it.
Oh, yeah. Did you finish it?
I've not started it yet, no.
Did I talk about that last week? I think I did.
You did.
Didn't you start it, Marvin?
Yeah. I've watched like 3 episodes.
Yeah, you're not
into
it.
About how it's more kid-friendly.
Oh, yeah, we did talk about it.
I'm not super into it, but it's cool. It's a good watch, I think.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
I did finish For All Mankind, the one that you still haven't started yet.
I will. I'll get to it eventually.
Yeah.
Is that show over now forever?
Nah, it's coming back.
Oh, is it?
4th season.
Oh, damn.
I don't know. This one was about Mars. I don't know. What's next?
Good?
Is
it still good?
I think the first season was definitely the best season. And the second season was pretty good. 3rd season is where it got kind of like some stuff I didn't like as much.
Right.
The story, I don't know. This one felt more like a drag here.
You think I would be like all over that show, but I found the first season like kind of.
I thought you would too. It's fucking space and it's fucking like political shit combined.
I know. I just
found the retelling of fucking history, basically.
I found the first season just slow and kind of boring, to be honest.
Damn.
Like it's very slow paced.
If you don't, maybe you shouldn't watch it then, because.
Which I don't mind a slower paced thing. It's just I was having trouble getting into it. Because I don't know why. I don't know. I have to just revisit it. Sometimes you got to be in like the right headspace for a thing, you know?
That's true. Yep.
Mm-hmm. So maybe I wasn't feeling it.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm probably going to thug it out now and watch Yellow Jackets, I guess. See, hopefully it redeems itself a little bit.
Hopefully.
We'll see how that goes. But what do we got going on this week, Dusty? How's the news looking?
Well, we're gonna talk about shit coming out first, since we're talking about shit we've been watching and what we may or may not want to watch.
Yeah, hit us.
One show we were talking about, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Oh yeah, premieres soon.
New season comes out on the 7th. Yeah, so just
that's tomorrow.
2 days from now. Yeah.
Today is
How many seasons is it?
It is currently the 6th, but it's 12:30 a.m.
For you, it's only this on the East Coast. Right. Yes, for the rest of it, it's still the 5th.
Hey, we have flying cars now, boys.
Yeah. That's coming out on the 7th
season. This is the 16th season.
It's the longest running sitcom ever in television history, other than The Simpsons.
Right.
Oh wow, that's impressive. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're making a series based on the movie The Full Monty. It's called The Full Monty. It's coming out on Hulu on the 14th. I might be interested in watching that one, but I'm not sure if that's going to be good or not.
I've never seen The Full Monty.
Yeah, it's on my watch list because I want to check it out just to see if it holds up to the movie. But I don't know. We'll see.
The movie Black Mirror, was great.
You guys were talking about that. That's coming out. The new season.
It's coming back
on the 15th. Yeah,
Jesse's
so it's just about a week or 2 away. Witcher Volume 1, Season 3, Volume 1, because they split the season into 2 parts. The last season with Henry Cavill comes out the 29th. Jack Ryan Season 4, the last season of Jack Ryan, because
Season 4 of this shit, nobody's watching that shit. There's no way.
Krasinski, I actually like Jack Ryan.
Really?
Owen's
Krasinski
a big fan of that shit.
Is not doing.
Doesn't like comedy, likes fucking Jack Ryan.
Oh yeah, he loves that shit.
It's a good series. He's a good character.
Maybe it is. I'm
Um,
just.
Yeah, I may have to watch some of the old movies with Harrison Ford in them. Clear and Present Danger, or Patriot Games.
Fugitive's the best one.
I love The Fugitive.
That's Jack Ryan.
That's
his character in that movie.
no.
What?
No.
Yeah.
No, that's Henry Kimball. What are you talking about?
What movie am I thinking of?
Well, there's Patriot Games and Clear and Present Danger. Those are both Harrison Ford. And then there's the one with the Baldwin. It's is that Hunt for Red October? No, not Hunt for October. It's about a submarine though. I forget. Sean Connery is defecting with a submarine.
Yeah.
One of the Baldwins is Jack Ryan in that one.
Well, hang on.
And then Chris Pine was the latest Jack Ryan movie.
And then you had the one with the Sum of All Fears with fucking Ben Affleck. That was also Jack
Affleck
Ryan.
Affleck did the Sum of All Fears. Yes.
I didn't know there was Jack Ryan movies.
Yeah, he's like
All
James
those.
Bond.
It's like Tom Clancy's books. It's a series of books based on this character named Jack Ryan. So they've been making movies about it for years, and they're finally starting to make shows and stuff.
I don't know why I thought The Fugitive was Jack Ryan. Anyway, that's a great movie.
Dr. Henry Kimball. Yeah.
You
Did
remember-
not kill my wife.
You
I
remembered
don't
his name. That's
care.
impressive. You're not good with names.
I am not, but no, I'm a Harrison Ford stan. I love that guy.
That's fair.
His name is Richard Kimball. Just saying.
Yeah, Richard. Is that what I said? I said
Said
Henry.
Henry.
didn't I? Yeah.
Henry
I was
Kimball.
thinking of Henry Winkler earlier because we were talking about.
Oh, okay. That's fair. That's a fair gaff. I'll give you that one.
But that's pretty much it for like big shows coming out. There's a longer list,
Nice.
but we do have Extraction 2 also coming out on Netflix on the 16th.
Ooh.
So I don't know if I don't think we reviewed the first one. We maybe put that on the list. I don't know. We'll see.
Throw that on the list instead of fucking
When does this come out?
16th.
It comes out on the 16th.
Let's throw
on
that on the
Netflix.
list instead of fucking To Catch a Killer, because I watched 5 minutes of that shit and I just like it didn't seem
Maybe
very
just-
good.
Well,
I
To
don't
Catch a
think we
Killer is
covered
the. Oh wait, no, it's not.
We didn't cover the first one, so maybe we could just watch them both and just give a. 'cause I
Maybe.
don't know if he'll do a third one, so see how it goes. But it's kind of like the John Wick stuff, you know. Who knows? They may make 5 of them.
Yeah, they might. Netflix, you never know
But
with
anyhow,
Netflix.
Yeah, you never know. So that's pretty much all the interesting stuff I thought was coming out. On to the strike, which has been going on since May 2nd, so we're a little over a month out since it started.
Yeah.
Affected shows or movies. Unstoppable, J-Lo's new feature film, stopped filming. This is the Matt Damon and Ben Affleck's production company, Artist Equity. The only other movie they've done was Air, which was about how they made the Air Jordans for Michael back in the day, how Nike became like a shoe company again.
Yep.
Pretty good movie. That's co-starring Jarrell Jerome. It's about a real-life wrestler, Anthony Robles, who was born with one leg and went on to become an NCAA champion.
Damn.
Looks like
Damn, what a legend.
Pretty interesting story with,
Yeah,
So
I
that
can't be
one's been
watching J-Lo
delayed.
movies though. She need to stop. She need to stop acting.
Hey, you ever see Jersey
You're not a
Girl?
fan?
Underrated. Everybody hates it. Great
Jersey
movie.
Girl.
Kevin
Did
Smith.
Did you watch
movie.
The Mother, Marvin?
The Mother. Wait.
That's her newest. That's her newest,
Fuck
her
no.
latest movie.
She's an assassin. There's no way.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's fucking great.
Let me tell you something though. She still looks good for
Mhm.
being her age.
Mhm.
Like some actresses, like I'm sure she has work done and stuff, but whatever. But her and Jennifer Aniston, they just like only get better looking as they age. It's so crazy.
Somebody was telling me about that. They just can't. Can you believe that Ben Affleck's trying to get back or is back with J-Lo? I'm like, yeah, fucking who?
Yeah, I'd be
It's
trying to get back with
J-Lo. Are you
J-Lo.
fucking
How many times have they
stupid?
broken up? I feel like I've always heard about. Weren't they
Bennifer.
married before?
Yeah, they were. But he
Damn,
was with
that's
what's her name
crazy.
for a really long time. The chick who played Elektra. I can't remember her name.
I don't know.
Yeah, I can't think of it either.
Oh,
Yeah,
Jennifer
it's-
Garner.
Jennifer Garner.
Yeah, she's that one show. She's in the show I'm watching right now. The last thing he told me, which is still good. Amy Pascal confirmed that they are still making a Spider-Man sequel. Tom Holland said they were having meetings. Both confirmed, I think, this week that they have paused meetings in solidarity with the strike. So
Nice.
production on that is basically halted. No meetings. World of Real has reported that Batman 2 filming has been delayed 4 months. It was supposed to start in November, I think. And it's not going to start filming until 2024.
Which Batman?
Which
Oh,
the new,
Patty.
the Bobby P. Batman.
Because apparently they're starting to do the Brave and the Bold one. That's going to be part of the DCU, but it's animated.
Brave and the Bold.
Yeah.
Was that Stories? Batman Stories?
It's part of the DCU, the James Gunn slate.
Yeah, he's something he announced.
I think it's animated.
It sounds like fucking.
They're filming in the UK, which is kind of weird because
soap
Deadpool
opera?
3.
Yeah, it sounds like a soap opera.
Bold and the
Batman
Beautiful.
soap opera.
Something the Beautiful. I think.
Yeah, I think it is.
We'll
Bold
talk
and
about
Beautiful.
this in a couple minutes. We'll get there.
What?
We got Bold and Brave news.
Oh,
Oh, nice.
Both confirmed that they have. Okay, so anyways, yeah, they're filming this in the UK, and it's kind of weird because they stopped filming
yeah.
Batman 2, which Deadpool 3 is filming in the UK, and they didn't stop filming. Like
Disney don't give a fuck about no
we
writers'
talked
strike.
last week
no
about
solidarity.
Nah,
yeah, what's his name? Wolverine. He was.
they got
Hugh Jackman.
deadlines, baby.
He was on a plane he was on a plane out there to go film. So
Nice.
I don't know how they're doing it, but anywho, the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers recently made a deal with the Directors Guild. So that's one deal done. The Writers Guild are the ones that are under strike. The Writers Guild continues to hold out. They've got different demands though. Like they think the Writers Guild, they're concerned about use of AI. They're concerned about streaming transparency, and they're concerned about wages. So
It's fair. All
they were
fair
sad
stuff.
about it, but it also seems like I just saw this. I was perusing Twitter right before we started recording. SAG-AFTRA, the Screen Actors Guild
Mm-hmm.
members have voted 97.91% in favor of a strike authorization ahead of the TV theatrical contract negotiations that begin on Wednesday. So it looks like they are also going to strike, probably in solidarity with the
Yeah, great. Let's get
Writers
no
Guild of
content for
America.
another 3 years.
It looks like it's going to be like
We went from like
been
writer's
for a
strike
little while.
to
Mhm.
COVID to writer's strike again. So it's like we're getting shows to come back like and movies like fucking 4 years after they're supposed to be coming out.
And I mean, that could be like part of the problem that could be part of the negotiations because, you know, they were like, okay, well, let's see how the streaming thing goes. And then COVID came and everybody shut down and streaming just started booming because nobody was going to the movies. So like there's
Right.
probably some inflation in the numbers of streaming. So maybe some of the demands are a little bit exaggerated if you think about it, but maybe not. I
yeah.
don't know what their negotiations are, but something to think about with this in and outflow of fucking content we've had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's a
But,
good point.
Yeah, that's all that's going on with the strike. But everything's we've got stuff that's coming out down the pipe that's already done. But once that stuff is done, we're gonna be in a lull again.
It's gonna be a
Sucks.
dry county.
Yeah,
All right, that's fine.
dry
I got a lot of stuff to catch up on.
That's fair, yeah.
We're gonna be doing Make Marvin Watch exclusive for the whole month.
You guys hear about this show Idol that just came out?
Oh yeah, with the weekend. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Depp's daughter, right?
Yeah, it's supposed to be like super controversial or something because she has like a nude scene in it.
I don't know.
But it's the guy who created.
Got a hole in my chin.
Nice. It's the guy who created the show. What's the one about the kids?
Euphoria.
Yeah, Euphoria.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Anyway, go ahead with your news. I just
All
was
right.
looking
Well,
at that.
we only have the one piece of WB news. It's a light news week, really.
Yeah.
One Take
bad.
News reported that Andy Muschietti, director of The Flash, which is apparently getting rave reviews,
Mhm.
has been tapped to direct James Gunn's The Brave and the Bold.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the news about that. This is a comic book series that was written about the assassin's son.
I'm gonna have to go see that
Assassin's
movie
Son.
now, The Flash. I didn't want to, but I'm gonna have to because the only thing I'm seeing on Twitter is like it's either Zack Snyder fans shitting all over it about everything, or people just like, "Yeah, it was all right." So now I gotta go see it. I don't really want to, but
Yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to
Gotta
it.
do
Keaton's back.
Yeah.
Oh,
Gotta
yeah.
go see it.
Yeah, got to.
is that
So,
a
yeah,
movie
that's all
though, The Brave and the Bold, or is it a cartoon?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a movie.
Because it's funny, I just opened up
it's
Twitter
animated.
as we're talking about it. I see a fan casting of what's his name, guy who played the fake Captain America and The Boys,
Oh,
which I could see.
Oh,
him,
right. Yeah, Eccles.
Yeah.
Jensen Eccles.
I could see
Yeah.
him being a pretty good Batman.
Yeah, he's got to move on to
Oh, yeah.
something because he didn't find a new home for his spin-off show, The Winchesters from Supernatural, that got canceled from CW because they got bought out. We talked about that last week or the week
that's right.
before.
So Brave and the Bold, okay, is the DCU canon Batman, as far as I understand it. The Batman with Robert Pattinson is like an Elseworlds fucking thing.
Yes, James Gunn said this is basically going to be the story of the Bat family in the DC universe.
Okay, so this is
setting the bar for what Batman is going to be in the DCU moving forward.
So stupid. Why are they even making these fucking otherworld shits, bro?
Because Warner Brothers, I guarantee you, was like, yo, the Batman made mad money, James Gunn. Like, you could have control, but like,
if you have a $1 billion title, you continue to fucking cash in on it.
Like, we're gonna continue making this movie, so figure out. What I don't understand is how and why it doesn't fit into his like vision of the DCU, and why they wouldn't just like fit it in just for like lack of confusion. But whatever.
Right. I mean, because then they got the Penguin show coming too, right?
Yeah, so
which I think is going to be good.
That's also Elseworlds. Then they got the Joker, which isn't tied to anything. It's just some random fucking Elseworld. It's like, dude, give me a fucking break. Yeah, it's like,
also an Elseworld.
It's an Elseworld, but I'm saying it's not tied to the Batman or fucking Brave and the Bold. So it's like
it's bad. I don't like it. It's not good for the fans.
Well, I mean, that's how they did movies back in the day when there wasn't like continuity in the universe.
Yeah,
like,
but this is a new era, Dusty. We got fucking cinematic universes.
I know.
Now.
I have a gripe about that coming up.
Not only that,
Disney,
but it's also coming off of like a very poorly received universe. Film series. So like this is supposed to be like, okay, we're fixing it. Here are your beloved characters. Like it just seems like it's counterintuitive to what they're actually trying to do, and which is fix the Zack Snyder nonsense.
Right.
But anyway.
I understand, yeah.
Gotta tell you though, I'm looking at a picture of all the different cowls. I'm gonna post this to you guys. Batman's cowls in live action. Take a look at that.
Shit. Let's see.
I gotta say, my boy Val Kilmer's cowl is looking kind of badass.
Yeah.
I don't like that shiny shit.
Yeah. Keaton's was better.
Keaton's is good. And I don't.
It's just a color contrast. Like it's a matte instead of a.
Yeah, I like the matte for sure.
They're all kind of good. I feel like I don't think I ever really liked the costume in Dark Knight. Like I get it. It was
Adam West's.
Well, that's ridiculous, but
that shit needs to be fucking thrown in a fucking fire. What is that?
That shit is badass. What are you talking about?
That's badass.
I think out of the cowls, I think the Robert Pattinson one has been my favorite, outside of like the Keaton.
Oh yeah, that's fire actually.
But I never was a fan of the Dark Knight.
I like it looks very modern. The Pattinson one does.
Yeah, it looks practical, like he built it. Whereas like the Christian Bale one is clearly like he used his resources to fabricate it and all that.
Yeah.
But anyway, I thought that was. I was just looking at it.
Terrible.
Yeah, it was.
Like how they all look like they're fucking screaming Batman. Like they're just screaming at us.
Joker smiles.
The Affleck one is like kind of smiling.
Yeah.
Okay. So on to my complaint, since we're moving on to Disney.
Complain. Let it out.
Sean Bailey, Walt Disney Studios motion picture production president.
Mm-hmm.
This is the guy that is in charge of the live action remakes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He's either smoking crack or he's lost his goddamn mind.
Interesting.
He's talking about, I think in an interview, I forget which magazine it was with. He did an interview. Maybe it wasn't a magazine. He was talking about the live action remake of The Lion King. And this is what he said. There's a lot of room to run with the Lion King series if we can find the stories.
I saw
it's
this.
A big epic saga akin to Star Wars.
I saw this. Yeah, I did see this.
They want to make a Star Wars universe out of the fucking live action Lion King movie.
Enough.
Yeah, no.
Fucking stop it already. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
He's just seeing dollar signs, bro.
Just stop making live action remakes.
Yeah.
Quit it.
Well,
I agree.
Here's the thing.
The Little Mermaid was good, though.
I was just gonna say, I hear it's very good. Now, I don't know if it's because people are trying to like, do the woke thing where it's like, no, it's fucking great. If you don't like it, you're racist or whatever. I don't know if it's getting like positively review bombed, but I've heard good things about it. So
yeah, no, I don't think it's getting positively review bombed because if you remember that remake of Scooby Doo, the Velma shit.
Yeah.
See, that would be considered super woke, but
that
it
was
got
super
terrible reviews.
I'll even call that woke, and I hate the word woke. That shit was woke as fuck. That shit was so dumb. I didn't see it either, but terrible, just the description of it. Yeah. No, I heard Little Mermaid's good, and like, you know, again, from hearing her sing and shit, like she's a fucking baller. So I believe it.
Yeah, she's great. She's amazing.
I believe it's good. Which, I mean, it's like, it's not really possible to make a bad live action remake. I think they're unnecessary, but if you're gonna make them,
you said it's not possible to make a bad one.
Yeah.
What about Lion King?
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to say. It's like, the fact that it is bad is like such a fucking joke, because like the original movie's laid out for you. You're literally just making it live action.
Yeah, no.
But to be fair, though, Lion King isn't bad because of anything else other than the fact that they tried to fucking show you real animals. Like it was just like ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the other one I've watched is, I mean, besides probably the Jungle Book, but they've done a bunch of.
Jungle Book was good.
Mulan is the only one I watched because
I didn't even see Mulan.
I heard Mulan was bad, so I never watched it.
I love Mulan though, so I don't know if I want to ruin.
Yeah, that's the same reason I didn't watch it. And Aladdin was fucking good too. So there are three.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't see Aladdin either. Actually, I don't think I've seen like any of them.
3 of them are good. Lion King was fucking horrific. It was like actually like unsettling, and then. Apparently Little Mermaid's good. I don't know. Like, these are all great movies. That's what I'm saying. They're already good movies. So it's like, how is it possible to fuck it up? So
right. Yeah, you gotta be
the Christopher Robin movie in 2018.
It was just the way they decided to go about Lion King, and like they tried to make it like real fucking lions talking.
It wasn't live. That's what I don't even get. It's not even live action.
No, it was just more CGI. but you know,
fucking animated.
And Jungle Book did the live action version of it good. Like they still had like the animals were still like pretty much fucking cartoon characters in a sense. So Baloo, right. I mean not Baloo, fucking who's the kid? What the fuck's his name? He was the only one who was like live action.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, as well. But yeah, just please stop.
Mowgli.
Mowgli. Yeah.
Mowgli. Yes. Okay. Oscar Isaac made Marvel history.
Oh.
With his role in Across the Spider-Verse.
Oh,
he is now the only actor to play 3 different Marvel characters.
Oh,
the only one. He shares the spot with 7 other people that have played 2 characters, but he's the only one to now have got 3. He was obviously Apocalypse in the X-Men, and he's in Across the Spider-Verse and Moon Knight. So the other notables in that list: Chris Evans, Josh Brolin, Michael B. Jordan, Haley Steinfeld, Ryan Reynolds, Jimmy Chan, and Jon Favreau.
I heard Spider-Man was really good.
Yeah, it's supposed to be getting really good reviews. I'm not really into the Spider-Verse stuff, but I heard it was really good too.
Same.
Give it a watch. I haven't watched the first one though, so
that's another thing too.
Same.
We're talking about God of War. Like I liked the first one, but wasn't blown away by it. Everybody's like, "This is the best Spider-Man movie ever made." Like it was okay. It was good. Like I didn't hate it. But I wasn't like fucking, going fucking nuts over it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't find it interesting. Everybody's Spider-Man, basically.
Well, it's not that everybody's Spider-Man. It's Spider-Man's from different.
Everybody's Spider-Man
from different universes.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah. Okay, so moving on. I talked about him having my Harrison Ford stan, and we have talked, I think, about one of his interviews before. He just did another one with Esquire, and I think the first quote I'm going to talk about is he says he's talking about Indiana Jones versus Han Solo. And being asked about who would win. He says, well, they usually ask me if there was a fight between Han Solo and Indiana Jones, who would fucking win? And I say, voice rising, fingers drumming, me, asshole. I don't want to fucking make that shit up. I mean, what are you asking me that crap for? Just don't. You think it out in your head and you come up with your own idea. I'm not going to fucking answer that dumb question. And then the other fucking great quote is from when he was filming Dial of Destiny. He was trying to get off his horse, and I guess a bunch of stuntmen came over to help him off.
He fucking raged at him.
Like, I thought, what the fuck? Like I was being attacked by gropers. So he tells him, leave me the fuck alone. I'm an old man getting off a horse, and I want to look like that. So he's just,
He's a funny
a
guy.
loving old man. Yeah.
He's
Harrison
always
Ford,
been
he's
pretty
a treasure.
grumpy.
He has. And blunt.
He's like the
I
Bob
like that
Dylan
about
of
him.
Hollywood.
Yeah.
Like doesn't really care about his fame
No, he's an old crudgel.
and is annoyed by people who like him because he's famous.
Right.
Yeah.
So what else you got for us?
Okay, back to Amy Pascal. We talked about the Spider-Verse movie. She has confirmed that a live-action Miles Morales is in the works.
Oh yeah, who couldn't have guessed that?
Yeah, I mean, it was hinted at basically in Spider-Man Homecoming, I think. Donald Glover's character, Aaron Davis, who is Miles' uncle,
Yes,
made
sir.
some sort of inference.
My nephew
Oh, shit.
did.
But there's actually, this might be spoilerish, but we're going to talk about it anyways.
Uh-oh.
It's just rumor and alleged. This is rumor and alleged. But Tobey Maguire and Sam Raimi might actually play a major role in bringing that to fruition.
Yeah.
Garfield and Maguire could appear in Avengers: Secret Wars. It's been rumored.
They will.
We already got a little bit of the Spider-Verse with them, and what was it? Homecoming?
No Way
Was that
Home.
the one? No Way Home. Yes. I have home in them, so it gets hard to remember.
They'll be in Secret Wars.
So yeah, and it's actually rumored that Raimi might direct Secret Wars.
Oh my God, that would be insane.
Might be top for that. So the rumors are that Raimi will get to give Tobey Spider-Man a Stark-like epic death that is going to inspire Miles to be Spider-Man. So we're gonna get
that's cool.
like some sort of dramatic Spider-Man death. So
That doesn't make a lot
Raimi,
of
who
sense.
did
Kill
Raimi,
him.
who did all three Spider-Mans with Maguire, is finally going to get to close that book and say, all right, Toby's character is dead. You guys
So
can
you're
have
saying
Spider-Man. We're
Miles
done."
will be coming from the Tobyverse?
Correct.
I see. Not the
That's-
main MCU timeline.
Interesting.
The
That's what it
sacred
seemed like.
timeline, if you will.
Right. I don't know. So we'll have to
Interesting.
see, but that's just it's an alleged rumor that's been floating around, which I thought was fascinating. It'd be cool to see Raimi fucking
Yeah.
close the book on that.
You know, I need to go back maybe and watch the Raimi Spider-Man because
Mhm.
I don't remember it being very like Raimi-esque.
First one was.
Oh, yeah.
Was it?
Not like
Yeah.
it's not like Evil Dead Raimi, but it's
Yeah.
got his footprints on it for sure.
Mhm.
Okay.
Especially with
I need
like
to go back and watch it. then,
especially
I
with
think.
like the way he played Green Goblin.
Mm-hmm. Willem Dafoe.
Yeah, there's a lot of Raimi to it. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not
I
as
just haven't
much
seen it in a while, probably,
not as
so
much
I
as
need to
Doctor
see it.
Strange. Doctor Strange, that was like full Raimi. Like, yo, hey.
Right.
Yeah, that was like
Have
in your
at it.
face, Raimi. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
that's because he got to do
Yeah.
like his.
He
Dead
basically
Spirit
made a
stuff
Marvel
and his
version.
Marvel stuff, yeah.
He basically made a Marvel version of Army of Darkness, but like with
Yes.
CGI is essentially what
Mhm.
Doctor Strange was, basically.
Yeah.
That's why I like that movie. It's still my
Yeah.
favorite of the.
Oh,
Let's see that. What do
Yeah.
they call them? Phase.
I cannot agree with you there, sir.
What
That's
phase was
all right.
that? 4?
4.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're in phase 5 now.
Yep. So
Yes, we
on
are.
to a scooper. It's not my time to shine hello this time. It is can we get some toast? Who have we reported on before? This is a birthday scoop for them. There are 2 other cast members returning for Deadpool 3, one from the Fox X-Men movies and one from the MCU. They are villains, and you would never guess who. I'll reveal them in due
Wow.
time because it's far too early. So for now, have fun speculating.
Nice.
They also scooped that Disney is allowing Marvel to develop TVMA material on Disney Plus, which I don't know if that's
Wow.
much of a scoop. We kind of knew that was coming down the pipe anyways.
Yeah,
Punisher.
eventually, right? Yeah.
Yeah. But like Deadpool's coming and they're not going to put it on Disney Plus.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
it just
Right.
seems plausible that that's the road they wanted to go down.
I mean, drop the
Yeah.
kitty shit already. It's why everybody. It's why I hate fucking Nintendo. It's like we get it. You made Mario, but like you could branch out a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
It's not a big deal.
Mario.
Yeah.
And
Still haven't watched that, by the
so
way. I might never.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're a
the
fraud.
last piece of Disney news. It's been mentioned a few times in the MCU that Stark Tower was sold. Happy talked about it in Homecoming, and Hawkeye talked about it on the Disney Plus show.
It's gonna be the Baxter Building. I've been speculating it for years, baby.
Well, right now it's reported that Mephisto is the new owner of Stark Tower.
Nah, I don't believe that
And-
shit for a second.
Sacha Baron,
Baron
or
Cohen?
Sacha Baron Cohen, sorry,
Yeah.
has allegedly been cast to play the role and was reportedly seen on set of the Ironheart, where he will allegedly make his MCU debut.
Why?
And we had a lot of Mephisto rumors with
Loki.
No, it was
it was with first it
Scarlet
was
Witch.
with first,
Scarlet Witch.
Yeah, it was with
Yeah.
that.
So, and then Loki. But yeah, rumors have been twirling for a while. But yeah, I would love to see that happen. Like if he comes out, I mean, whether or not he owns Stark Tower, that's who knows. But
why would he appear of all things in Ironheart? This is why. Okay, this is why I get annoyed. Now this is probably just speculation, right? Because like everything that's
so
come
you'll
out.
watch the show.
Yes. No, really.
Right.
That's why. Like they're trying to push characters that nobody fucking cares about. Like we get it. Ironheart's a black chick who's smart. Like okay. Sorry, Marvin.
Well, they
it's
killed
just
off
that's just what.
Iron
No,
they killed
I know.
off Iron Man, so they have to find a.
But Ironheart is
similar
not.
replacement.
That's the thing, though, right? It's like, this just
Right.
they're not gonna like. They're doing a little bit of woke shit. Let's just call it what it is. They got fucking America Chavez, who's like the Spanish chick. We got fucking Ms. Marvel, who's the Indian chick. We got Ironheart, who's the black chick. It's like we get it, and we're all here for it. There's not a Marvel fan on Earth who's like fucking woke Marvel, but like choose your characters.
That's why they've been
properly.
calling it the MCU for a while.
Yeah,
now,
I know that. Yeah, no, for sure.
the
I get that's what they're
Infinity
doing, and I don't
Saga,
care. But to this point, it seems a little bit like the fucking stories are suffering because of it.
Which She-Hulk wasn't, I don't think. I mean,
And
maybe the way
hang
they
on.
wrote it was. Go ahead.
Just to clarify, it has nothing to do with their identities as women of whatever race they are. It's the fact that these are
It's
just
that
not.
they're women.
No,
I'm just kidding.
they're not strong. They're not strong characters to follow up the ones that we had. They're just not. And it has nothing to do with like.
Right.
Has nothing to do with like male or female or any of that shit. It's just they're
The roster's in shambles right now.
not. Yeah,
You're
they're just
chasing
not.
the dragon.
I know that we all are. They're just not as strong characters. It's just simple as that. And they're never
I'm not
gonna
chasing
be.
the dragon. You know, I'm here for the new drug.
Yeah, no,
Until,
I'm ready to give it a
until they
shot.
reset the universe and bring all the lovable characters that everybody likes back.
they're not gonna bring everybody back, but we'll get X-Men and we'll
They
get
will.
I mean, maybe 10, 15 years from now, but like
Give it a
they'll
chance.
but like
Yeah, 10 years. They'll reboot it and start all over.
I don't think so. We're not even fucking 10. We have 10 years before they even get to like Galactus and shit. Nah, they got a ways to go before they do that. But
As long as it's not as boring as She-Hulk.
I think. Well, that's what
I
I'm
think it
saying.
works
It's like
out.
they're
But She-Hulk, that's what I was going to say is like She-Hulk was one exception where they couldn't make a Hulk movie or a Hulk show because
Yes.
they didn't have the rights or
Correct.
the license to it yet.
Yes.
So that's why they made She-Hulk, because they knew Hulk was popular and they figured they'd cash in on that.
and
But the writing in the story was,
you
I
know,
would argue, a little bit woke. They were making
perfectly.
fun of their fans.
I didn't think the story was
airing.
woke at all. I didn't really. I mean, I thought that was the best part of the show is that they were making fun of like these fucking anti-woke
Right.
idiots that were making YouTube videos every week complaining.
Mhm.
I wonder how he's doing these days. Good old woke
Oh,
critic.
boy.
Check him out, Marvin. How's he doing?
Look,
The
But-
critic.
But it's not like I don't mind the characters. Like you could have them, but like they can't be. They're being forced. Like even Cassie Lang in fucking the new Ant-Man. Like she was like clearly the main character because like this Young Avengers is like the thing that's coming down the pike, and it's like that just ain't it, dude. Like it's just not. I'm sorry. It is what it is. Like Ironheart's a cool character, but like she's so new in the comic books. Like people aren't. She's not gonna. She doesn't have as much name recognition to carry like the franchise. Just doesn't.
correct.
Give her a chance.
Hey, listen. I thought fucking Miss Marvel was one of their best shows. So
I'm really disinterested in a lot of the stuff they're doing until the fucking X-Men.
I'm not disinterested. I mean,
it's-
I'm still enjoying the
I
stuff
kinda
for the
am.
most part. But like
I'm hyped for a Secret Invasion. I'm hyped for like Blade.
Secret
yes,
Invasions, I think
um,
is going to be good. I'm hyped for that.
Yeah.
Well, Blade was one of my favorite Marvel movies before they started. I mean, still is actually, but
Good old
Oh,
Deacon Frost.
yeah.
Oh, there's one more Disney news thing.
Oh, hit us,
Yeah, what's
Marvin.
that?
You never interject with your
Kinda.
own news. What do you got?
Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is expected to release on Disney Plus in August.
Yeah, they've
Oh,
been
right,
doing that.
yeah.
Those quick releases.
That's a
Yeah.
that's pretty quick turnaround.
Got to sell those
So
subscriptions,
if you
baby.
guys are looking out, you know.
Did I freeze or
August.
did you freeze?
You went black for a second.
Yep.
Oh, Okay.
Dusty just got
We
sucked
back.
into the multiverse.
Yeah. It just
He
there you
went.
go.
He got
And
woken
then
up.
everything froze for a second.
Dusty's severed.
Yeah. So the last piece of news, which
Yep.
is not Disney,
Uh-huh.
this is everything else. The Office
Oh,
is getting its third remake.
No,
Marvin, it's
no.
third remake.
all female cast, right?
I don't know if it's all female. So 2001, we got the UK version.
No, it's all female.
2005, we got the US version. 2024, Felicity Ward will take over as the titular role of Boss, previously played by Stephen Carell and Ricky Gervais, who created the character, and is pleased about the news. He said, "I'm very excited about Australia remaking my little show from the turn of the century. Office politics have changed a bit in 20 years, so you can so can't wait to see how they navigate the modern day David Brent."
It's not all female. It's just the boss is female.
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah,
Yeah,
Felicity
I'm sorry.
Ward is taking a
Yeah, I saw a Tim
Felicity
Pool tweet. He was
Ward.
outraged about it.
Yeah, you got to read the actual news, not the headlines.
I don't
I don't know Felicity
follow Tim
Ward.
Pool at all.
Maybe she's funny.
She's I've seen her in some stuff, but I don't remember what because her face looks familiar. But I didn't look at it a lot of her roles.
Yeah. Well,
But, yeah,
she
so
ain't no Michael
remakes.
Scott, so I ain't gonna be watching that shit. Most likely.
She's in the
I don't know,
in-between, isn't she?
Did you watch both of the original?
I've watched the
Dan?
British one.
I
I
did
didn't really
not.
care for it. It's much different than
Yeah.
the American Office. It's a very different show. Aside from the fact that like they're in an office being filmed by a TV crew, it's like totally different shows.
Mm.
Totally different brand of
American Office is
humor.
Fucking hilarious.
Yeah,
I
it's
love
like watching the IT crowd and then watching Silicon Valley.
I think I'm racist against British people. I don't really care for British people.
it.
to be
Yeah, you
honest.
definitely don't.
Prejudice.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Even in like watching Ted Lasso sometimes, like most of those guys are British and like obviously they're British and they're like likable. But a lot of times, especially with like Jamie, I'm like, what is this motherfucker saying? I cannot understand him. Nah, I like British people. They're cool. Their
Yeah,
humor's
put
a
some good
little
content out sometimes too.
Their humor's a little bit lacking sometimes. What were you saying?
They put out some good content sometimes too.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the news.
All right. There is the news.
There is the news.
You've been newsed. Thank you, Dusty, for the news once again. Light week, a little bit light, but that's okay.
That's all right.
I can't wait till the day you come at me with like who's playing Superman. That's what I'm waiting for.
Yeah.
I saw an article about that too. Apparently, Corn Sweat is looking like the top dog.
Corn Sweat?
Corn Sweat is his name.
yeah.
Corn Pop?
Yeah, Corn Pop. Pop is
Well, they're
back.
supposed to start production 2024, right? So I'd imagine that.
Well, actually, I don't know if you reported on this last week or not, but James Gunn, you know how he has a tendency to like shoot down rumors and stuff and like shut people down on Twitter. Well, he made his last comment recently. He said that he's done doing that for a while.
yeah, he's going to dial it back. I'm sure he'll still do it some, but he just wanted to like make the message clear when he first took over.
Yeah.
So he wanted to dispel a lot of shit, but now he's like he can't be asked with it. He can't be concerned with it.
Yeah, he's like he basically the point I was getting. He ended it by saying, "Plus, I'm storyboarding Superman Legacy, so I don't have time to be doing this." So yeah, we'll hear more about that shit soon.
Corn Sweat, huh? I don't know if I like this guy's face.
Nah,
Something about his face.
Nah.
Maybe his head looks a
punchable
little
face.
small. He got a little small head.
Kids say.
Let me sell you on it real quick, Marvin. Hang on.
Oh, he's got a fan
Oh yeah.
made
I
art.
always imagine
concept
Superman
art.
to have a manly head. This guy doesn't look like he has a very manly head.
Well,
you know
we're
what I'm
getting a
saying?
younger Superman. Come on,
That's fair.
look at that picture, Marvin. He can pull it off.
Wait, let me see. You see, I don't know.
Yeah.
That ain't his neck.
His
He's
got
neck.
that-
He need to get.
He's
He
got
needs
that
some.
Tom
He needs some
Welling
steroids.
look.
That's what he
That
needs.
is-
He's just got to bulk up a little bit. That's all.
His neck is skinny as hell.
Yeah, boost him up.
He don't got that fucking Henry Cavill.
Look at
neck.
that shit. They photoshopped his fucking neck. His neck is as wide as his fucking head. Oh my god,
I
that's
almost spit my
hilarious.
drink out on that one.
Nah, he looks good. You don't understand, Marvin. They got to pick a guy who's relatively unknown. It cannot be a big actor.
That's right. You're
That's
right.
the number one prerequisite. You could get a bigger neck. You could bulk up. Like none of that shit matters.
Can you get a bigger neck? Get that.
Yeah, of course you can.
Get that oil. That's that fucking Brazilian injection. Like in
Hell
your
yeah,
neck.
that's right. Yep.
No, they be injecting that fucking oil in their fucking biceps and shit in
No,
Brazil.
I don't actually know what you're talking about.
You never seen that?
Nah,
It's like some synthetic oil fucking injection. That shit is crazy.
nah, you're talking about some crazy shit. Oh man. Anyway, let's get into today's review, boys and girls.
Oh yes, Renfield. He doesn't
Renfield.
ask for much.
Doesn't
Just the
ask
blood
for
of a
much.
few innocent people.
Renfield. This came out. When did this come out? A couple months back.
Shut the fuck up, Kyle.
When did this come out? A few months back,
I don't
I guess.
actually know.
I don't remember.
Yeah, it's been a couple. It's been,
been a
at
few
least
months.
a few weeks.
few months,
I, don't know
I
if it's been
think.
a
Yeah.
few months. Oh, for
April.
theaters.
April 14th.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's been not that long at
A
all.
little under 2 months.
Yeah.
Well, just under 2 months. Yeah.
This is directed by Chris McKay.
What the fuck is that?
Chris McKay has done the Lego Batman movie, which
He's a Lego guy. That's
Lego
big.
Batman. It doesn't get enough love here on the Harsh Language podcast, but
How could it? It's fucking Lego. Ain't
Marvin-
nobody watching the fucking
I don't
Marvin-
watch Lego movies.
listen to me,
Hell
Dusty.
no.
Dusty. Just listen to me for 2 seconds. Open your mind. Listen. You too,
Oh, I know
Marvin.
he did Robot Chicken, so it's
Just
gonna be like funny.
Listen to me.
Mm-hmm.
Watch Lego Batman. It's one of the best Batman movies that exists. I
I
promise you.
can't take a Lego movie
I
seriously.
thought to say
I
you
can't.
don't take it seriously. It's so good. Just watch it. Dusty will appreciate it too, and you can too. Now, Mark, just watch it one time for me. I don't ask you
Okay.
guys for much. Just watch it.
Okay.
I'm
I'll
telling you,
try.
it's good. And he did the Tomorrow War, which was
Yeah.
that shitty movie
Chris Pratt.
with Chris Pratt. Yeah,
Oh, did I see that?
The Future War movie
Yeah,
on Amazon Prime.
it was
Yeah.
fucking bad.
Oh, I never watched this. Okay.
But yeah, he's did
Somebody
some.
tried to get me to watch this. I think it was Owen.
It was not
It was
good.
definitely Owen.
Yeah, it's an Owen movie for sure. But yeah, he's done a bunch of Robot Chicken stuff. He doesn't have a huge catalog, but he's here directing Renfield, and this was actually co-written by Robert Kirkman. I don't know if this is based off of a comic book or not. I don't think it is, but yeah. So stars
Okay.
Nicholas Hoult, also in the Superman Legacy casting rumors, potentially going to play Lex Luthor, which I just want to say I think would be a great casting because,
They need to not do that.
well, he was great in this movie, but he was also
He
great
was.
in The Menu, and in The Menu he had
was.
the personality of I could see Lex Luthor having. He was like
no,
he was
man,
like
they
he
can't.
was like a snarky wise ass in that movie, but like a piece of shit smart ass kind of in The Menu.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we got Nicholas Hoult here as Renfield, and of course Nicolas Cage as Dracula. I'm forever on board with a Nicolas Cage movie, really, honestly.
Nick Cage
He
is a
can do
cool
no
ass
wrong.
Dracula. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah,
He was great as Dracula.
yeah, he was. He plays Dracula. Not just any Dracula though. It's pretty clear that he's heavily based on the classic Universal Dracula, most famously played by Bela Lugosi, right?
Mm.
Is that his name? Yeah, Bela Lugosi.
When did that come out? 1931.
Yeah, back then. Old.
Wait, did it actually? It actually came out in 1931. Oh
Yeah.
my
Nick
god.
Nick is a big fan of those old throwback.
Yeah, but he was
Movies.
definitely designed after him in this film. He's got the same outfit on, the cape, the fucking medallion, the slick back hair. We got Ben Schwartz playing Tedward Lobo, the villain in this movie. Awkwafina playing Rebecca. She's a cop. Shohreh Aghdashloo, I hope I pronounced that right. She plays the mob boss, Bella something logo, Bella Francesca or whatever. She's the worst actress, I think, in the history
That's
of
Avasarala, right?
Uh-huh,
From The
yeah.
Expanse.
Yes.
Okay.
worst actress in the history of moving pictures. Like she is just
I like her. What the fuck?
so bad.
Yeah, she's not that bad. What's wrong with you?
She was terrible in the
She's
Expanse.
definitely carried by her voice, though.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie.
She got that smoker's voice, heavy smoker's voice.
Mm.
But they're our main cast, and this is a
Punched in the
movie.
jugular.
Yeah, that's that Owen.
Never
That's Owen's
healed.
grandma voice right there.
This is a movie about our boy Renfield. He's Dracula's familiar, basically.
Yep.
and he essentially is Dracula's slave. He goes out and gets bodies for Dracula to feast on.
Yeah.
And he's sick of it.
And he's trying to find himself.
He's sick of it. He's trying to find himself. I thought the concept for this movie was hilarious. I thought it was great.
It was funny. Yeah,
this movie is hilarious.
Where it's like, it's essentially, I thought it was a great movie, very funny. He's like a Renfield is like he works at like a toxic job. He has like a toxic boss, and that's
toxic relationship.
Essentially,
that's the whole thing.
Yeah, that's the whole fucking story. And Dracula is, of course, he mistreats him and is self-serving as any powerful vampire would be. And in the beginning of the movie, it opens up with Dracula's fucking house being stormed by like vampire hunters. I don't know if it was Van Helsing, but it was like some sort of Van Helsing type of hunter
from the church.
Yeah, the church. And Dracula is weakened in this brawl, and the aftermath is Renfield takes him to where are they? Where's this? California? Take place in California?
Actually don't know.
I wasn't even paying attention.
Yeah, I didn't either. But they move far, far away so that he could help Dracula recover. But he joins like a codependency support group. Oh, I mentioned codependency earlier. That's what's her name from Barry. Yeah, like that's the typical.
Yeah,
he is a codependent. A codependent like they think they could fix the other person, and B they desperately want the other person's like approval constantly. And it's obviously more to it than that, but. He goes to these codependent support groups, and all the while, he's sort of making a new life for himself, free of Dracula. And he starts to do some heroic acts. Now, Renfield has a power because when you work for Dracula, Dracula shares a little bit of his blood with you.
Yep.
And you got some Dracula blood in you. You got some Dracula powers in you. But only
you gotta keep your familiar around. Can't keep replacing them.
Yeah,
you don't want a high turnover rate.
That's true.
Exactly. Especially when Renfield's like, I mean, listen, he's a good familiar. He does what is asked of him. But he gets powered up when he eats bugs for some reason. Never really explained, but that's okay. It doesn't need one.
Well, they explained it at the beginning of the movie, and that was it. It's all the explanation you need.
Which was. Remind me.
He's bugs. Don't worry about it.
Oh,
yeah, bugs. Don't worry about it. That's what it is.
That's fair. Yeah.
They made a joke about it.
Yeah. Eats bugs, gets powered up. So he's going around town doing some heroic stuff, and he's starting to get like noticed by the fucking local like crime syndicate, which owns fucking everything. The police, who are owned by this crime syndicate, and one cop in particular, played by Awkwafina. She plays a cop named Rebecca, whose father was killed by the crime syndicate. So she's like, she's a cop on a mission. She's not a dirty, corrupt cop.
She's right. She's apparently the only non-corrupt cop in the whole city.
Yeah. So this basically is it becomes a buddy cop movie with Renfield, kind of like half man, half vampire guy, and a cop who's like, what the fuck is going on? What I thought was really funny, the action sequences in this movie are actually I thought really good. They're funny too, because he fucking is just annihilating people. Like punching holes through them, heads are flying off, fucking legs are flying, like people getting dismembered by him.
Yeah.
It's actually pretty fucking hilarious.
The gore is not like disgusting per se. No. It's more funny and like entertaining.
It's just outlandish, right?
Yeah.
And it's mostly a comedy, like action comedy, but there are a couple of pretty spooky moments. I wouldn't say straight horror, but like there's some pretty like scary moments, namely when like the mobsters go to the mental hospital, the abandoned mental institution where Dracula's hiding.
Yeah.
And like he's kind of doing like his Dracula shit.
He's doing it, yeah. What'd you guys think of his throne with the blood bags?
I liked it. I thought that was very cool. I thought
that was pretty sick.
I thought all the set pieces were very cool. I thought the action was very cool.
When he was in recovery, like after getting burned, that was pretty cool looking.
The effects were really cool too. Like as he started to like grow back, and then the CGI like wasn't great, but like it's like whatever. It's not, you're not watching this type of movie for like I need dope CGI.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, in the story as it goes, Renfield cannot live an average everyday life free from Dracula's reign, because Dracula finds out about what he's doing, does not take kindly to it, ends up teaming up with the gangster squad, and basically becomes a fight between Awkwafina and Renfield versus Dracula and the gang of also vampire blood-powered criminals.
Yeah.
And that's basically the movie. There's really nothing much to the plot. It's just it's just a very funny and effective movie. I do want to talk about Nicolas Cage a bit because I think he was like the best part about the movie. I think he now is just like embracing the fact that he's like out of his mind. And I know we talked about this when we talked about the Unbearable Weight
of Massive Tate. Yeah.
Yep.
Massive Talent.
Massive taint. Yeah.
He does have a massive taint, Nicolas Cage.
He does have a massive taint.
Few know that, but he does have a pretty big taint. That's a short, Marvin. Gotta clip that. Don't forget either, because that's a good one.
I won't.
Write it down right now.
Yep.
Yeah, Nicolas Cage, like we talked about this when we talked about that movie. He definitely embraces the fact that like he's a ridiculous person and very like overblown, overdramatic like actor.
Yeah.
And that movie was like great for it because it was like a parody of that.
Right.
This is just like him just having fun, right?
Yeah, they definitely told him to go all out.
Yeah, it's just like be Nicolas Cage because there's moments where he's just so like animated and like flamboyant as Dracula, but he still kind of
he loves doing his job.
Yeah, that's what he was just having a lot of fun. It was very fun.
Was it true that he like had to grind his teeth or something for this?
I remember you saying that, but I don't think so.
I don't know. Actually,
don't buy that.
Yeah, I don't
buy that shit.
That seems like a big commitment.
That's a
It
little.
It looked like he had like the top teeth were like pushed out a little bit, so they were in front of his teeth, and the other one was just like a cap on his bottom.
Well, you could tell
his bottom teeth were really short.
You could tell how he was
and it was all
talking
just
too,
gums.
though. That his speech was sort of impeded by the mouthpiece.
No, here's an article.
Really?
It says the film's makeup artist Christian Tinsley revealed that Cage trimmed his teeth and wore 3D printed dentures for his vampire character. We shaved down Nick's teeth, and the dentures were fitted so as not to impede on Nick's speech.
Shaved down, like took off a millimeter or two. I don't
know.
That's some crazy shit. You wouldn't catch me doing that shit. I guess maybe if I was making like Nicolas Cage money, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this was I'm reading here. So yeah. Excuse me. Robert Kirkman, the famous comic book writer, did write the story for this. It's not based off of a comic book. I wasn't really sure.
Okay.
I don't know if this is his first what's the word? Foray into film writing, but I think it's a good little example of what he could do. I mean, we know the guy's a great writer. All his comic books, Invincible, Walking Dead, fucking Marvel Zombies. What else does he do? Namely, Walking Dead. Like clearly, that's like a bajillion-dollar franchise at this point.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, this is his only film. Looking at it right here, I would love to see him work on some more movies.
Yeah,
I think this one worked.
For sure.
It worked really well. There was a lot of really good quips and jokes in this movie. Lots of laughs.
It was very funny. Yeah, it was like very like Nicholas Hoult, like his character Renfield, definitely leaned on the, I guess, like sarcasm, sort of like quippy, like rebuttals and stuff type of comedy, which I always appreciate because I like when people like, it's like when you look at like when you watch comedians like do stand up and stuff, it's like I think it's one of the most impressive art forms, right? Because especially when they kind of are like just riffing with the crowd and stuff, like to be that funny that quickly is like not easy to do. Otherwise everybody would be fucking funny. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that always impresses me. And that's kind of what his sort of character reminded me of in this. Like he's just kind of quippy and like
they all are
sarcastic.
kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, when they're fighting at the apartment and he's like helping her down onto the top of the SUV and she's all, that shit people say, oh, I've seen way worse.
Mm-hmm.
Everything you done today
this is my
the
way
worse. This is my way worse.
Yeah.
That was funny.
Jesus Christ.
She was pretty funny.
She was good in this.
Well, I'll say she was kind of funny. I think she was doing a little too much.
You know,
as some of
yeah,
her
some of it,
stuff.
yeah.
But yeah, she was pretty.
I still
funny.
thought she was good in this though.
I don't know if
Yeah.
that's an indictment of her because, you know, again, it's written for her, but I did think that about her in Shang-Chi. So, yeah, I did definitely pick up on that as well in this movie.
It kind of grew on me though. Like at the beginning, it definitely felt like it was too much.
Yeah.
And then it was better.
Well, because in this, she's
As it
playing like the
progressed.
fuck you, like I don't give a fuck top type of person.
She's
Yeah.
playing the hall monitor. In this
Yeah.
movie. Like, she's kind of unlikable because she's the only actual good guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought Ben Schwartz was really funny.
That's
and,
a little shitty
and he
kid.
typically is. No, he was the bad guy, basically. Yeah.
The kid, right?
Yeah, Lobo.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, the Lobo kid. Yeah,
Yeah, and
Yeah.
he's
That man sniffed the centipede. That shit was fucking nightmare fuel.
he
Snorted it up.
snorted that shit
Yeah.
to get his fucking powers. But yeah, I thought the cast was all pretty good, very funny. Script was very funny. Action was cool. Yeah, there wasn't really anything I didn't like about it, honestly.
Yeah, I think overall it was good action comedy. Worth the watch for sure. I am glad it was only an hour and a half.
Yeah, that's another thing too. Runtime was like right in the sweet spot. Didn't go on too long, wasn't too short. It was just like, boom, done.
I did. Yeah, I also like the idea of like mixing Dracula with the crime organization. I thought that was pretty cool and unique.
Yep.
Like a unique take.
Yeah,
Like
that
a
was
team
cool.
up.
And I really liked that it did explore, like, sort of in a weird way, like, you know, being a codependent. Like, that's like pretty shitty for. It's like why a lot of people are in abusive relationships because,
yeah.
like, so like it did sort of like shed a little bit of light on that. I thought that group of codependents and his support group were fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
That they at one point get murdered by
They
Dracula.
got slaughtered.
Yeah, like
Jesus
not
Christ,
murdered.
can I get through one share without
Yeah.
being
Oh, yeah.
interrupted?
They get slaughtered, and then he
And
brings them
Renfield's
back.
He's just flying slowly through the air the entire time as they're all dying. I'm like, when is this guy gonna hit the fucking ground?
But when he brought them back, it was fucking hilarious that the main guy, the group leader, was just he like makes reference to the fact that like they were just dead like 10 minutes ago, or so. And it was just all very funny.
Yeah. I actually don't think you guys mentioned the fight scenes. I don't think the fight scenes were anything special outside of
No, they
when he
weren't
beat
special.
up the goons with
No.
the severed arms. I thought that was hilarious.
It wasn't anything
And then the
special.
Mortal Kombat X-ray at the end, I thought that was
Yeah,
pretty
when
funny.
he kicked the Lobo kid in the stomach and he
Yeah.
shot blood out of his head and his ass.
The extreme blood was like Evil Dead levels for
Yeah.
sure. I thought that
Yes.
was funny.
What was
It was
to
comical.
me to respond to what you said about the action? What was to me, it's like we're constantly bombarded with action movies like John Wick and fucking Nobody and like all these movies where it's like sort of like realistic action. Like
Oh, yeah,
obviously
yeah.
John Wick isn't realistic at all, but you know what I mean. It's like
Yeah.
all
That's
within.
because people like me pick apart movies that have shitty action in them.
But this one is like there's nothing to pick apart. It's just over the
No,
over,
yeah, it was-
over
it
the
was
top,
fun.
Right. And
overblown,
it's meant
yeah.
to be. So
fun
yeah.
action.
It's
yeah.
like Kung Fu Hustle. It's supposed to be fun and unbelievable.
Yeah.
But when you do a movie like John Wick or something where you're trying to like reenact what actual people
Right.
would do, and they miss that, you're like, fuck, these guys are
Yeah.
dumb.
That's true. So in this movie, I think the ending was like too happy, like it was too good of an ending.
he just
But I guess it
resurrects
was
everybody.
fitting for this type of action flick.
Yeah.
I was kind of expecting there to be like a post-credit scene hinting he was like for sure alive. But
Yeah,
that didn't
normally
happen.
a movie like this would have something like that for sure.
Thankfully that didn't happen though. We don't need a sequel to this, I don't think.
We'll probably get one.
We probably will. I'm indifferent. I don't think we need. I think one is good.
What is apparently there's a roguelite game based off of the movie Renfield Bring Your Own Blood.
Oh,
It's
that's fire.
A bullet hell roguelite. What the fuck does that even mean? Bullet hell, also known as a manic shooter, is a subgenre of shoot 'em up video games featuring large amounts of projectiles that the player is required to dodge. Oh, so like Contra, not Contra. Yeah, like Contra, I guess.
No, it's more. Well, yeah, like that top down type of thing.
Yeah.
It's probably like that, but
Well, you're dodging bullets. It's just like Galaga,
Yeah.
like all those fucking things, kind of.
yeah,
Obviously not as simplistic.
it's like
as-
it's probably just like that other game. God, I just had it on the tip of my tongue, dude. whatever.
Well, I don't
can't
think they're
of
gonna
it.
make another one because it looks like the budget was 65 million and only grossed 25 million worldwide before they sent it to digital. So
Oh wow, that sucks.
Mm.
yeah,
I
It
thought
doesn't-
which
deserved,
is sad because it's a hilarious movie and people should watch it. But
It doesn't have
I
the
could have
best
watched this in
reviews.
theaters. I would have enjoyed that.
I would have too. I don't think we're getting the proper theater experience, like the proper like theater numbers and stuff. Because like I don't know, I still think people are not going to the theater. Like I know, like Avatar made fucking gajillion dollars, and Mario did, and all this stuff. I know
For
that,
sure.
but like every time I go to the theater, maybe it's just around here. I don't know. Like they're always empty. I saw Guardians in an empty theater. I saw Ant-Man in an empty theater.
Wow.
Marvel movies are never empty.
I think people are maybe kind of over it.
So
They
like,
just might not want to go to the theater anymore.
yeah, that, and I don't think a movie like this is really getting people to go out to the theaters, especially since
Yeah.
most of these streamers are then just putting them up. You mentioned earlier, Guardians is going to digital in August,
They're just waiting.
so it would have been out for like a month. Why would you spend $30 to go to a
That's
movie?
true.
Spider-Man made 120 million in its opening weekend.
Yeah, people worldwide for sure still going to the, but I don't think it's like as much as it was. Like I used to go to
I think
movies
that's
every
domestic.
weekend. Oh, Dusty froze. Whoop.
I think that's domestic. Yep.
He's
Can you
back.
hear me
Yeah.
at least?
Yep,
yeah,
we're
I
good.
hear you. No, I'm
Yeah.
like I said, I just don't think like I don't know. I don't think a movie like this, like a low key type of like oddball
Not like this.
movie's gonna get
Well,
people to go
standards are
theaters.
higher. Standards are higher now. We've gotten some good shit. So
Yeah, and also you got 50 fucking, streamers that you're paying monthly for. It's like,
yeah.
what are you
Yeah,
supposed to
in
do?
this economy, can't be going to the fucking
can't be going
movies.
to the movies, bro.
Come on, Biden. We need some Biden bucks for the
Biden
movies,
bucks. Bro, I don't mean to go off on a tangent, but you're joking about that. But there was a scam going around called Trump Bucks that some people like did. And it was like,
Oh my God.
hey, if you want to support President Trump, you give us $100 and we'll give you 10,000 Trump Bucks. And Donald Trump
Like
is gonna start his own currency at some point when he becomes president again. And you'll be able to
That's
cash
fucked up.
these in. Now, obviously, this has nothing to do with the Trump campaign or whatsoever, or his presidency that we know of. But
it's like a typical crypto scam where
yeah,
it's
so
like,
people got ripped off for
Well,
these Trump
Yeah,
bucks.
he sold his own NFTs too.
Yeah,
oh fuck, I
They're
forgot
just
about
like
that.
crudely photoshopped images from
that they stole off of like
copyrighted materials from Photoshop. Oh, what
Google image and shit. Yeah, stock photos.
Shutterstock and what? Yeah.
Yeah. Some of them you can still see the fucking watermarks on them. It's hilarious. So people have all these
Yeah.
fucking Trump bucks. And they were going to the banks, and the banks are like, "What the fuck? Like what? We can't cash this in. This
It's
is
monopoly money.
Yeah, this is
kids.
nothing.
Yeah, it's
What
like,
are you doing?
Yeah, it's like showing up with fucking bottle caps, like you're fucking in
Mhm.
Fallout world. Like, yeah, I got these bottle caps, I'm ready.
Yeah, just dump them out on the teller's desk. But anyway, so this actually released. Renfield, we're talking about grosses. This made 17.2 million in the United States and Canada as of June 1st, and 8.4 million in other territories for a worldwide total of 25.6 million. That's like peanuts on the scale of
Mhm.
like other movies.
Yeah,
It's a loss because its budget was
big
reportedly
loss.
65 million.
Yeah, and it
Yeah.
released alongside The Pope's Exorcist, Mafia Mama, Sweetwater, which I haven't seen, and Suzumi. I don't know any of those except Pope's Exorcist and Mafia Mama. But it was projected to gross 8 to 10 million from 3,300 theaters in its opening weekend. It made 3.1 million on its first day. So it finished fourth behind Super Mario Brothers,
yeah.
John
I don't
Wick.
think there was a lot of marketing for this movie. I
Exorcist.
feel like
I mean,
No.
I saw the trailer for it way back. I think probably among us just sharing trailers, and I was like instantly sold. I'm like, Nicolas Cage
They
is
probably
Dracula.
knew.
I'm down.
Given the budget that they spent on it and what they estimated it would make, they probably knew that it was going to lose money.
Yeah.
So they figured there was no point in spending more money marketing it.
yeah,
Um.
that's true, huh?
I mean, it also doesn't have like the best reviews. So.
Yeah, it's got like mid reviews, which
Yeah,
is weird.
which I don't really get, to be honest. Like if you look through IMDb, like the user
What are
reviews,
people saying?
I mean, they're all pretty
I don't know.
positive. I
This
think.
movie's a banger. It's one I can throw on in the background any given time and just laugh at it at different times.
Yeah,
it
there's-
has so much rewatchability.
Yeah.
Most of the user reviews are like, pretty good. But if you look at Rotten Tomatoes, Rotten
Oh,
Tomatoes, it's got a 5.8 out of 10, 58%.
Whoa.
and the consensus that they do, although it fails
Certified
to take
rotten?
The audience, though.
Yeah, the audience.
80%.
Yeah, this is not a critic movie at all. Although it fails to take full advantage of its committed stars and killer premise, Renfield's batty horror comedy blend sinks in just enough to leave an impression. So I don't know.
I fucking hate critics. I don't want to hear anything else a critic has to say.
Critics are fucking stupid.
It's so annoying.
But I thought the movie was great. Our rating basis, IMDb, has it at a 6.4. I mean,
bump it up.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's right there. It's like 6.5 for me.
6.5. Yeah. Maybe so, huh?
I really enjoyed the movie, but there's nothing really to like write home about. Like I wouldn't come to you guys and like rave and rant about it. Like, oh my God, you gotta watch Renfield. It's a fun movie, like Dusty said.
That's true.
I'll probably watch it again. Just for fun one of these days. I thought it did everything that it wanted to do, I think, pretty effectively. It was funny, had decent action, was a little scary at times, and it was like ridiculous. It's not meant to be taken seriously, you know?
Yeah.
So, 6.5 for me.
Yeah, I think that's a fair rating. 6.5.
Wow. I'm actually going to give it a 7, boys.
Whoa!
Oh, shit.
Thought it was great. This gave me like From Dusk Till Dawn vibes or Kung Fu Hustle, like a mishmash of those two movies.
Listen.
Which is
Listen.
hilarious and fun.
I don't know what you're fucking smoking that you're going to compare this to From Dusk Till Dawn, but other than the fact that there's vampires in them, Dusk Till Dawn is a fucking masterpiece.
There's some cheesy gore in
it
there.
Is, but yeah, no.
There's some fucking unintentional comedy in there. Like this, I haven't seen it in a long time, but yeah, it gave me those kind of vibes.
Sex Machine should have popped up in this movie. Speaking of which, you know what's funny? Real quick before we go, we always joke around about how Quentin Tarantino just loves to say the N-word. I saw a TikTok.
He does.
I know
Everybody knows it.
He like makes movies specifically to say it. But in Pulp Fiction, he says it himself with the character that he plays. He says it 5 times in one scene. When they bring Marvin's body back.
Yep.
You know what I don't like? I don't want you to show up with a dead N-word. And he just says it over and over again. And it's like, dude, like, what is wrong with you?
He's got an obsession, bro.
How does he get away with it, though? I don't get it. Is it just because he's like
He's got good-ass movies.
He's got one more movie to make, and then he's done, allegedly.
Yeah, supposedly. We'll see. But yeah, Renfield, I thought like it wasn't amazing, didn't blow me away, but I liked it quite a bit. Like I thought
I
it was
watched it
enjoyable.
twice.
Yeah.
Laughed both times, different parts, same parts.
Definitely fun.
I'll watch it again and laugh, so yeah.
Definitely enjoyable. And the standout Nicolas Cage for sure. Cool, interesting take on like, Dracula. There's so many fucking Dracula movies throughout fucking history. Like this was a cool interpretation of the character. And they even gave us a little bit of like lore too. There's like quite a bit of like Dracula lore in this movie as well, which I thought was neat.
That's true.
Marvin, have you ever seen Bram Stoker's Dracula?
It's a good one.
Gary Oldman?
Definitely not.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, that might be.
We've got another one coming up. The Last Voyage of the Demeter. Is that? Of course, you said you weren't a big fan of that trailer, so
that might be a make Marvin watch. Bram Stoker.
Yeah, it's a good one.
That movie's amazing. Francis Ford Coppola.
Mm-hmm.
Gary Oldman, Winona Ryder, fucking Keanu Reeves is in that shit.
Oh shit, Anthony Hopkins.
Yep, Richard E. Grant. Tom Waits is in it. My boy, Monica Bellucci. Oh man, this movie's great. I haven't seen this movie.
It's one of the greatest Dracula movies ever made.
It might be the best Dracula movie ever made.
Mm-hmm.
I think. If I had to get what other Dracula?
The Vampire
That's not Dracula though.
Yeah, well, I guess.
What?
If you're talking Dracula, then.
Yeah, I'm specifically Dracula.
Okay. This movie definitely had What We Do in the Shadows vibes for sure.
Mm. Yeah, it did actually. That is a good
really
premise.
did.
Minus the film crew.
Yeah.
Like tape. Yeah, it had that type of comedy in it. Yeah, for sure. Although What We Do in the Shadows is just fantastic.
It's amazing, yeah.
Much different. But definitely similar vibe. Like I like that. It's like where you take like these like mythical stories and stuff that are always framed as like, oh, vampires, they're fucking horror. And then it's like you kind of just make fun of it because after a while you're just doing the same shit over and over again.
Right.
Yeah.
Another movie that stands out to me that does that is Monster Squad. Have you guys, I'm sure Dusty's seen it, but It's an old, fantastic Marvin. You'll remember the name.
And,
I've seen Monster
movies?
House. I do love Monster House.
Come on, Marvin. Shane
I've
Black.
not seen Monster
Monster Squad. Shane Black wrote it. My boy, Predator. Come on.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
No, I haven't seen it.
Great movie. It's about all like
Mhm.
the monsters team up against these kids. It's fun. Fucking
Oh,
movie.
that sounds fun. Yeah.
Yeah. And one more vampire movie. Notable shout out. The Bronx.
Van Helsing.
No, the Bronx one. Vampire.
What?
I think it's called Vampires versus the Bronx or something like that. It was on.
Oh,
It was on Netflix like 2 years ago. Yeah, Vampires versus the Bronx. Not the best movie in the world, but I quite enjoyed it. It's about a bunch of
say Vampire in Brooklyn.
no. This is about a bunch of kids from the hood that like fucking take down like a vampire syndicate.
Oh shit!
I
That
thought it
sounds
was-
way better than Vampire in Brooklyn.
I thought it was good.
Have
Yeah.
you seen Vampire in Brooklyn?
Oh yeah. Yep.
Why
But yeah.
are the reviews so bad? It's not that bad. Come on.
Come on, Marvin. Don't you got that Eddie Murphy bias? That's the problem.
I love Eddie Murphy, bro.
So do I.
I won't tolerate no Eddie Murphy.
Everybody
disrespect.
loves America. Everybody loves
You
Eddie
see his
Murphy.
fucking hair in this shit? How you gonna give this shit 12%?
He's got a black guy
He
mullet.
had that fucking laid hair.
Laid.
Yeah, that shit was laid.
I don't know what that means.
Laid, bro. It's fucking smooth as fucking.
All right.
Come on, man.
A comic tale of horror and seduction. Yeah. But anyway, folks, that's going to do it for us. There's our review of Renfield. Let us know if you watched it and what you thought of it. Again, I thought it was a very fun movie.
Yeah.
And these guys obviously really liked it. But
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
leave a comment over on YouTube. Consider subscribing if you have not done so already. We're also on Spotify and Apple and like all the other fucking things if you just want to listen. But we'll catch you next week. Same time, same place. Thanks for listening, folks.
See ya.
Pasta.